Now, there are not many people who can say they've started 2 successful businesses from scratch, written a best-selling book and launched a charity. But my next guest, Liv Conlon, has done all of that and she's only 23. And she's here to tell us how she did it. So, Liv, you and I met, didn't we, at an event where we were talking about business, women in business, and I was like, we've got to get you on the show because it's so fascinating how you started your business and what you've become. So, take me back to the beginning, when you were 13 and you were at school and you were already showing signs of becoming an entrepreneur, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was just never going to follow a traditional route. Maybe similar to yourself, I didn't really want to follow what the teacher said. I didn't really like taking direction from my parents.
You were naughty.
Pretty much. So for me, it was just totally a natural progression to think about how I could start something that's I'm in complete control of.
Yeah, and so tell us about the first thing you did. It was to do with nails, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I basically used to buy fake nails. Tacky, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then basically I realised that I was paying too much for them at the shops. So decided that I would Google if I could buy them for cheaper, imported them from China, and then sold them on eBay.
Yeah. So you were doing this at 13? You were importing
13.
products from China and selling them on eBay.
Yeah.
Here. And then, so tell me about what happened next. And because you launched your first kind of proper business, for want of a better word, when you were, what, 17?
Yep, 17.
Yeah. So what was that?
Yeah, so it was a home staging business. So basically, home staging is when you have an empty property, it's for sale, and you give it that show home look. So you come in, you furnish it. And it was born basically through my mum. She had a property that was on the market. It wasn't selling. It sat on the market for 3 months.
Yeah.
No one put an offer in. It didn't sell. I decided to stage it, and it sold within 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what, how did you know? So you just went and decorated it and made it look great?
Yeah, so go in, and put all the furniture in it. If someone was going to live there, stage it, so with accessories, cushions, artwork. And then someone comes in and then they can see the lifestyle that's on offer if they were going to live there.
And you did this just off your own bat at 17? It's not like you had rich parents who were helping you with this or anything?
No, absolutely not. My business when I was 13 was just pocket money.
Yeah.
So I literally had 0 in the bank, nothing. And then went out and got clients.
Yeah. And so after you did your mum's property, then how did you get clients?
So I basically just went networking. So I went out to property events. I, went into the room. I had curly blonde hair. I looked 16.
Yeah.
I just went in and was like, this is my idea. It wasn't big in the UK at the time. It's really big in the US. And just tried to get some people to trust me and purchase from me.
And did they take you seriously? Because when I've spoken to some young entrepreneurs before, they've said, it can be harder because people are like, well, does she know she's only 17?
Yeah, I feel like that was personally probably more in my head than it was theirs, because when you launch your business, it usually provides a solution to a problem. So I just got very clear on who I serve and how I serve them, and then started to deliver on that. So I never really got that much pushback from potential clients.
Yeah, and then how did you grow it then? Was it a case of how did you do marketing and things? What happened?
Yeah, so it started off, I was very much in person, and then I realised the power of social media.
Yeah.
And I was that person that changed their profile picture every year, was never on there.
Yeah.
But I started to go onto, Facebook, Instagram, started to share what I was doing. And actually when the business went from turning over £30,000 a year to turning over $1 million.
Wow, what did it feel like when because you made your first million by the time you were 19, didn't you?
Yeah.
What did that feel like?
It felt pretty surreal. I mean, all of this feels quite surreal, that I'm sitting here with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just it's been a whirlwind. It's been a roller coaster, major highs and major lows as well.
Yeah, and from all this, you've then, you want to encourage more people to go into business, don't you? So tell us about what you've been doing in that area.
Yeah, so it's my passion to actually go on and share with other women that they also can create financial independence and live the business that they love, live their passion. So I actually now work with women who want to launch home staging businesses. But then I've also launched a charity called Too Big for Your Boots. And I'm going to work with people in schools, young people from disadvantaged backgrounds to launch their own businesses.
Oh, wow. So what type of stuff do you do with them then?
Yeah, so it's a whole range. I've got some courses, but also in-person events where we just get people G'd up, make them see what's possible for their future. And then give them a strategy on how to actually achieve that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know the lunchmates are dying to ask you. So look at Matt, you're nearly hanging off your chair there, desperate to ask
so
a question.
many.
Go on.
No, so everything you've done sounds amazing, but what I'm wondering is when you were first starting out, what challenges did you have? And, how have you overcome them challenges?
Yeah, so the challenges I had, I didn't have any startup funds. I didn't have any life experience. I was 16, 17. I didn't have a degree in what I was doing. So I really started with like zero. So for me, like what I done was I just got like clear on who it was I served and then started from there. But also the business model that I developed was that I would get paid by the client and then I could then purchase the furniture and then grow the business from there. Yeah. So yeah, I got the money from the client, then used it to grow. So I could really scale it from zero to whatever size I wanted.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Danny, you had one, didn't you?
Yeah, so no, for me, it's like, how do you deal with if your business is growing, all right, and you have to get to that next step of basically all or nothing? How do you deal with that, like emotionally, mentally? Because you've got to take a step, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some really hard decisions to make. I'm quite a decisive person. One of the things that I do is that I look at like the worst case scenario of what could potentially happen. And usually we tell ourselves a story and we make it out to be much worse than it possibly is. So I look at the worst case and then I also look at the upside of it and think, would it be worth it taking that risk? And I think risk taking, you have to be comfortable with that as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And Guy, you had one.
As we were saying, you're so young, it's really impressive you've done all this by now. So, like, clearly your finger's on the pulse. Is there any sort of, like, up-and-coming industries or businesses that you'd recommend people invest in or start themselves?
Yeah, so for me, I think the best investment you can ever make is in your personal brand. Because when you invest in yourself, no matter what industry you go into, whether it's home staging, I now coach other entrepreneurs, because I built it as Liv Conlon, as this personal brand, I can then apply that to any industry because I've got success behind me.
Yeah, so it's thinking about who you are starting the business as well. And any other top tips then for us in terms of what you'd say to anyone who's sat watching at home thinking, oh God, I want a bit of that, I want to set up my own business?
Yeah, so I think we often think, right, we need this light bulb moment, we need this business idea. And actually starting with the how and also the what. So people mainly start with how and what. What do I want to achieve, like in £1 million business? How am I going to do it? Through a home staging company. I personally suggest to start with the why. Like, why do I want to do this? Because that's the thing when it gets really hard, when you feel like you're going to give up, when you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, that's the thing that's going to push you to do that. So I really connected deep with what my why was, and it really helped me along the journey.
What was your why then?
My why was 2 major life events for me. So I was bullied at school, like really badly, so much so I had to move school.
Oh God.
And then, it was hard. And then also my parents divorced. So for me, I didn't really feel accepted in a lot of places. And I didn't fit the mould. So my why was I really didn't have an option. I could go down a negative path or I could choose a more positive path, which was launching the business and creating my own destiny in a sense.
I bet you're laughing at the school bullies now, though.
Yeah, I'm grateful as well, because they've given me like a massive fire in my stomach.
Yeah, oh, well, it's amazing. I could chat to you for another hour, but unfortunately I'm not allowed. But thanks very much, Liv. Lovely to see you again. Loads more still to come right after the break.